Today we're going to do a little welding and fabrication project. I'm going to try to build a weight bracket, actually 2 weight brackets for my pull-type box blade, just to make it go in a little bit deeper, be a little bit more controllable in that sense. I got one started. Let's work together on the other one. As we get started today, I want to remind you guys that have been watching us a long time, I am not a welder. If you want to learn how to weld, yeah, probably better go to another channel. But I am a guy who likes to just try to get something done. It's a lot of fun to try to do something myself and try to choose projects that are appropriately sized for my skills, that maybe I can develop those skills a little better and gain a little confidence as I go. So what we got going here today is, like I say, a weight bracket. I'm going to start with a piece of steel. This is 6" by 3/8. Each one of these is cut 22 inches long. I didn't do the cuts on this. I actually bought them cut to length. Probably paid a good bit extra to do that, but I should give a shout out to my local welding shop, ATP Welding here in Lebanon, Indiana. They go ahead and cut them for me. It's really the same price. It doesn't cost me much extra because, well, the steel's priced that high. And yeah, in addition to that, I had some steel around here that was, this is 1/4 inch stock. It's because it's what I had. And I made these, the intent is to have some, I don't know if you'd call them gussets in the middle and on the end. Maybe I'll lean that one a little bit, but maybe you'll get the point. And that's what it's going to look like right there. So I cut this on the front at like 30 degrees. On the back and bottom, it's supposed to be a 90-degree angle. I've got those ground pretty shiny on both sides to get ready to MIG weld it. And I think probably what we ought to do to start with here is to grind at least these ends a little bit and get them ready for cutting. I think I can probably use my welding helmet. It's pretty light in here. Yeah, that's pretty good on that end. I'm going to grind a little bit of an angle here so that the weld will get a little bit better. Okay, let's grind a little on the other end. Just going to get it good and shiny here. And then going to put a little angle in it so that our weld can go in there. Once in a while, my welding helmet is going dark, so it's not the perfect grinding helmet, that's for sure. There's the angle that I made a little bit there so that the weld can go in there, and then I made all this shiny so that hopefully the MIG weld will hold there and will not spatter so much. So I'm going to take one of these pieces. They're all basically the same. They're not identical. Again, this is a hack job. So the 3 of these pieces are basically the same size, but they're not perfect, right? I cut them by hand, so this is not something that I would want to sell, but hopefully it's something that'll be strong enough to use. You know, I learned this kind of thing on the farm, so on the farm a lot of times we just try to get by. Now I want this position just a little bit above the bottom of this 6". I want that to go down a little bit further, and I'm using this as to hold it a 1/4 inch off of the bottom. I'm also going to indent it just slightly so that it's not even on the outside here. I'm thinking that's going to make it a little easier for me to weld. Remember, I'm not a welder. I'm a hack. Okay, here goes. Now, the last time I did welding, I actually tried to get you a close-up shot and actually show the welding in action. Well, I destroyed my GoPro by doing so. I had the GoPro so close here that the spatter from the welder, yeah, it destroyed the lens. Thankfully, it was just a lens cover, so I was able to get a new one. It wasn't that much. These later generation GoPros at least allow you that sort of replacement. The early ones did not. Okay, here we go. Let's see what I've got here. Well, it's kind of rough, but that's going to hold. That's definitely going to hold. Ha! It's probably really all I need to worry about at this point. Now, when I did the first one of these, I had trouble keeping my path here. And that's why I've lowered this bracket right here a little bit, thinking maybe that'll help me to be able to keep this path. I wanted to run off the side on my first one. I just couldn't keep a straight line. I wasn't seeing well, so I decided I would try something a little bit different here to hopefully make my life a little bit easier and make the resulting weld a little bit better. Here we go. Yeah, so far I can see it a lot better. That's not too bad for a beginner, except I just went too far. That's the worst part. So there's the outside one, and there's the inside one. See, the outside one dripped down. I just went too far on it. Okay, the idea of indenting just a little bit really worked well. So I'm going to use that again. Basically, this bracket's not going to be right at the end. It's going to be just a little bit in from the end. That makes it a lot easier for me to weld that outside weld. And I had plenty of space. Okay, something kind of belched there in the middle. We'll see what that looks like. Now here we go on another one of those outside welds that I typically have trouble, well, just seeing everything that I need to see. I've got that little indention there, so it's not quite even. That should help me. And last time I just overran the end, so I'm going to have to figure out how to keep from doing that. A lot of times I just don't know what I'm seeing here. I can see pretty well through the hood, but sometimes I don't know what I'm looking for. Hopefully I can stop in time here. Yeah, I'm seeing it better this time. There we go. I started off just a little bit too far to the right there and didn't get it kind of good centered, but then I moved my way over there. And it's much more centered here now. That'll be plenty good to get the job done. And a more appropriate set of goggles here for grinding. These are still pretty dark, but at least I can see them. And I'm going to go ahead and grind that mistake off over here on this side. Yeah, not that difficult. A little extra spatter in there. Okay, now I want to put one more of these right in the center. And that shows a mistake I made in the first one. Well, I'll bring it over here. Guys, I just want to illustrate the kind of mistakes that we all can make. Well, hey, I want to show you one thing first. I'm welding all on one side of this 3/8 bar, so notice that I've warped it a little bit. That's just going to be standard. That's what's going to happen. And I'm not sure how to prevent that since I'm not doing any welding on this side as of yet. I'm sure an expert will know. You can let us know in the comments section, that's fine. Now, as for this, but what I really brought this over to show was how I was focused on welding. I was focused on something that was hard for me, and I made a mistake on the simplest of mathematics. I intended to put this in the middle, and it's not. It's off by about 1 inch. So I just did fundamental addition errors. Of course, part of it has to do with us being stuck on the English system, right, and having to count in all those fractions. But overall, measure twice, cut once. Doesn't matter whether you're working with steel or wood or anything, just measure twice, cut once. The overall gap in here is 21 1/4. Half of that is 10 1/2 plus 1/8. Half of that is 10 5/8. Okay, I want it nice and shiny so that when I go to do the welds, the weld does better. Now that's not something I had to worry about when I was stick welding. Of course, I had so many other things to worry about when I was stick welding, I can't say that was better. MIG welding makes anyone a welder. It may not make anyone a good welder, but it makes anyone a welder. At 10 5/8. I'll position myself a quarter up from the bottom. I'm going to use a tri-square to square this one up because I don't have the outside end to use as a guide. And now I'll double check. 10 1/2. 10 1/2. Look at that. I think I might tack this one just a little bit on this side first. There we go. Double check with my tri-square. Happy, happy. Folks, those are going to work. These welds are going to work. Now, I've not used any special technique to set up this welder. I've just used the directions provided there. There's a little booklet that sticks to the welder. And that booklet gives you some guidance depending on the thickness of your material, which wire you're using. Look at that. I get a welding job now. Can you hear my new air compressor? If we don't adjust the volume, you probably won't hear it too much. That thing is really nice. It just came on. You might ask why it came on since I'm not using it. Well, the answer is that it comes on, well, it drains a little bit of air every 45 minutes to drain the water out of the tank. So it's going to come on every so often. But wow. That's really quiet. It's not a problem at all. I should put these on our Amazon store. Little glasses. I can carry them in my pocket. Some of you guys are probably getting like me. You need some readers. These totally fold up nicely. I'll show you a little closer. Not sponsored. Just something I thought I could help you with. Right? So the glasses just right here. And you can get them starting at 1.0. I think in all sizes up from there. Of course, you can use them till you need to get your own prescription glasses, which I'm not at the prescription stage yet. I had LASIK when I was about 40, maybe a little older than that, because I had bad nearsightedness. The LASIK, I had to get it twice to get it fixed perfectly, but it's worked very well. The problem is as you get older, it doesn't fix the old age farsightedness that most of us get as we get older. I'm going to take just a minute and grind some of this spatter. It's not very bad. Okay, again, like the other piece, it did warp a little bit. So I expected that to happen, I just didn't know what to do about it. I guess expecting it to happen is at least part of the way of learning. Yeah, we'll figure that out at a later date. Let me show you how they're supposed to fit on the blade. Okay, so here's the plan. I intended to set this right behind, so there's a little lip right back here, and then I intend to weld it right here, here, in there, and on the back at the bottom. Of course, that's going to be a little difficult. We'll figure out how to do that in a little bit. We're going to have weights that hang here, so I would like to get it as far to the outside as I can, but as you can see, I have the pipe here for the laser, and that's going to prohibit us from getting all the way to the outside. But as many weights as we're talking about putting on here, I don't think it will matter. So this is the goal. The other one will be right here like this. So I'm going to get my pencil and make some marks to where I think these are going to be positioned, and then I'm going to take the grinder and grind the paint off so I can be ready to try to weld it down. I'm not sure how I'm going to hold it here while I weld it. Obviously I can't hold both sides, but I'm not sure how I'm going to hold it. Well, I'll come up with something. Okay, like I said, this is not perfect. This is warped a little bit. There's a crack here that I'm going to try to weld shut. that'll be an adventure on its own. But I'm first going to start by tacking this down right here so I can get the clamp out of the way. So we'll see if I can make it work. There we go. So maybe I can get the clamp out of the way now. Now I've adjusted the welder. I've had to adjust the welder because this steel's not as thick. So instead of dealing with 3/8 and a quarter, now I'm dealing with 1/4 and 1/8. So we'll see how this goes. It sounded pretty good, except I kind of missed the corner, so I'll have to do another bead on that one. Yeah, that one did good. This is bent, and I don't know how I could pull that forward. There's not really any way, so I just wasn't going to worry about it. I was just going to see if I could fill that crack with weld. Let me just experiment with that. See what that looks like on the back side. Yeah, that works a little bit. I think I need to turn the welder up a little bit. Okay, it was great till I started to try to go upward, and I knew that would be a disaster. I like it. Okay, so there you have it. 2 weight brackets, one on each side of the box blade here. It'll hold either 42-pound weights or 70-pound weights, 8 of them on each side. Used 3/8 by 6 steel with the gussets being 1/4 inch. I probably should have used 3/8 on those as well. I really didn't think I would have any welding advice for you because, as I've repeatedly stated, I'm not a welder. But believe it or not, I do have some advice that I think will be helpful. And again, this is not specific advice on how to weld. Go to other channels for that. The first thing is, just like anything else, it takes practice. You can see here on the first side, when I was welding it to the blade here, it looked pretty rough. And if you notice the welds I used on the second side, it was much better. So even in that amount of time, I was able to improve dramatically. The second thing is, it doesn't have to be perfect, right? It just has to be able to hold. Well, it hasn't fallen yet. And we've got a good bit of weight, at least on this side. And this is the first one I put on, so it is the worst looking one. But the third item is a little more concrete. When I'm wearing that welding helmet, I need to have good vision. A couple of ways that I improved my vision was I lightened up the helmet. This is an auto darkening helmet, and it allows you to adjust the brightness that you can see. I lightened that up so I could see a little bit better when I was welding. The second thing I did was I wore my reading glasses. So yes, that helped a lot. And if you're getting to that age, go ahead, wear them. I think you'll see that that's helpful. Within the area of vision, sometimes how I hold the actual welding stick, whatever it's called, yeah, you can tell what an expert I am. But how I hold that allows me to see where the wire is actually contacting the steel better. If I can hold it in such a way that I can see that wire contacting the steel, I can do a lot better job welding. So yeah, it may sound simple to most of you that are good welders, but some of you are beginners or haven't even tried it yet, and I'd suggest you do so. Get yourself a MIG welder. It'll make anyone a welder. May not make anyone a good welder, but it'll make a welder that can make something hold. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. This has been a lot of fun for me. I'm going to take these weights off and maybe clean it up just a little bit, and then I'll spray paint it, because we have to make sure we have steel painted. You can't leave it unpainted. It'll rust and look awful in just a little bit. Again, thanks for watching, everybody. We appreciate having you along. We'll see you next time on Tractor Time with Tim. The metalworker encourages the goldsmith, and the one who smooths with the hammer spurs on the one who strikes the anvil. One says of the welding, "It is good." The other nails down the idol so it will not topple. Wait. I'm not sure I like where that scripture was headed. But it is interesting that the Bible mentions welding way back in Isaiah's time. This would be in the 700s BC. Wow.